Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. After I released the latest video about the Russia-Ukraine crisis and potential World War III starting, one of my subscribers, Oracle Persephone, posted a comment asking me, do I have an escape plan? Unfortunately, the answer is no, not yet. However, that question really got me thinking. Today's video is how I think you can prep in the event of a war. I've had to rethink many aspects of my current situation in terms of myself and my family and our location and our future because of this potential looming crisis. Keep watching and you will see some of the conclusions I have come to about how you could prepare in the event of a war. And it's not how you think. "10 years ago, my family and I were featured on the National Geographic documentary Preppers UK. Back then, I really thought I had it covered. I'm not a fan of the term prepper, I really am not. I think it was invented by the media. I prefer future events analyst. Preppers in general concern themselves with 4 different acronyms: EDC, BOB, BOV, and BOL. In terms of these 4 acronyms, I've been sorted for many years, but war changes all of that. To give you an example, my family and I are currently living in our bug out location. When the current global situation started 2 years ago, we moved here full time. My bug out location is in a very remote village in Eastern Europe, in Eastern Slovakia, and should things go wrong, which they did, we can be pretty much self-sufficient should we need to be. There are 3 things you need for long-term survival. First is a water source. Here we have a stream at the bottom of the garden, and I have an excellent purification system. The village also has its own mineral spring. Second, you need warmth and shelter. Well, I've got a house. Warmth and cooking is covered by wood, so I am not reliant on gas or electrics. I have a wood stove and a wood burning fireplace. Food. I have several different fruit trees, mostly apple and plum. In warmer months, we have a kitchen garden for herbs and a few vegetables. And should the situation really require, my garden is basically a walking larder. Everything is covered from these aspects. EDC, everyday carry, is stuff you should be carrying every single day, which will get you through a 24 to 48 hour period. So you may have to overnight it somewhere if the situation calls for, but it will get you home and keep you alive. It's a very basic, rudimentary kit, but it's what everyone should be carrying. I did a video quite a while ago on some suggestions on what you should be carrying for your EDC. BOB. The bug out bag is an essential aspect of the prepper's mindset. It's something to grab should the situation call for. You can get out of Dodge and sustain yourself for perhaps 48, 72 hours just on what you're carrying. The bug out bag is basically an extension of the emergency grab bag, which has long been suggested by various agencies in the United States because of hurricanes or tornadoes, floods. So you can get out there and hunker down somewhere until you can return safely. The BOV, many preppers spend an awful lot of money investing in their bug-out vehicle. I've seen Land Rover Defenders kitted out with side-mounted kitchens, extending camper van. You know, they've got the snorkel, they've got everything going for them. It's big investment. They've basically turned the four-wheel drive into an expedition vehicle. Under certain circumstances, this is an excellent idea. It means not only can you get away from where the problem is, but you can sleep in your vehicle, you can cook in it, you can basically live in it like a camper van. Plus, it has the benefit of being all-terrain. However, there are certain situations where investing heavily into a vehicle is probably not the best idea. For example, during this global situation we're going through at the moment, where we've had extended lockdowns, people weren't able to drive to the country and live in their vehicle. They'd have had problems with the police. The other issue, especially in terms of war, is you may need to abandon your vehicle. And if you've invested a large amount of money and time into making it the super expedition vehicle, that's going to be a big loss. For me, I keep an old Land Rover Discovery because my aim is to be able to put my family in it and get out of the area and head towards a safer region. Important is that it can go across country, because in the event of conflict, the roads are going to be jammed with people fleeing. It only takes one or two crashes and the entire road network shuts down. I also want something which is capable of getting through smaller obstacles. For example, gates, small barricades, even pushing other vehicles out the way. But there may come a point where we have to abandon the vehicle and go on foot, especially if drones are being used, which use infrared and thermal cameras to detect vehicle movements. So long as the vehicle is in a fairly good condition, it's fairly large, and it can go across country, that should be enough. I've even seen preppers suggesting bicycles, and I think this is an excellent idea. More so if you're alone or in a pair. Once you start involving family sizes, it becomes more of a burden. So, in terms of traditional prepping ideals, I'm pretty much covered. Except war changes all that. Where I am, my two main concerns about if Russia invades Ukraine. First, the West will build military bases and put missile silos in my area. In the event of a conflict, the first thing Russia will do is take these out, which will obviously have a knock-on effect on the area and its inhabitants. Secondly, if Russia does invade Ukraine, we can expect a huge influx of refugees from Ukraine. And desperate people do desperate things. This area may become unsafe for both of those reasons. And I'm not even getting to the bit where Russia itself could possibly come this way. Where I live has had experience of Russian troops passing through on several occasions in the last century, and it was never pleasant. So what is the escape plan? Where do you go? Now, one thing I discovered over the years dealing with preppers and survivalists is many envisage a sort of Mad Max apocalypse when the shit hits the fan, where they'll grab their bug-out bag, they'll go to the forest and they'll live off the land, hunting and whatever else. Realistically, this may work for a very short period, but the world in general will continue going. Maybe in a very specific region this might be possible. For example, during World War II, partisans lived in the forest here and fought against the Germans. But we live in the 21st century. There's always one aspect missing from all this prepper scenarios. How do you sustain yourself for a long period? And by sustaining, I don't mean going completely off grid, drinking stream water and eating deer. Where do you get your income from? Because you need money. The world functions on money. As a lone individual, it is possible to go into the bush and survive. But when you have a family, and this is what really got me thinking, this is the missing aspect of any long-term survival plan. Where do you get the green from? I believe in self-reliance. I want to be able to, if necessary, uproot my family, go to another country and carry on life as normal without having to put my hand out and beg. And this is doable for everybody. Everybody has some ability which they can use online. So at the moment, what I'm trying to think is I need a second channel, a business focused channel, which will generate enough funds to be able to sustain me and my family should war kick off. I have many interests, as anybody who follows my channel will see. And after studying how YouTube works, I know I need to niche down and choose one, focus on it, and do it in such a way that I can generate funds. The last 2 years have shown that anything can happen. We have no idea. And to be reliant on one location, being trapped in a flat or a house in a big city for months on end, working from home, connected to your office, that's scared a lot of people. Imagine if the same situation occurred again and you could just move to a log cabin in a forest with a good Wi-Fi connection and carry on your lifestyle. It's not just war. Lockdowns are pretty similar. I think it's the dream of anyone who's self-reliant. Together we can develop a truly global self-reliant mentality. As always, be free.